Good morning, everyone. I am here today to discuss to you about the our laboratory activities, which is the recrystallization. So, what is the meaning of the recrystallization? Recrystallization is a process, and this is also known as fractional recrystallization. Then the recrystallization is a procedure for purifying an impure compound in a given solvent. The method of purification is based on the principle that the solubility of most solids increases with increased temperature. So this means that as temperature increases, the amount of solute that can be dissolved in a solvent increases. Is recrystallization was recrystallization process is a laboratory technique for purifying different types of solids. The basic features of this technique are causing a solid to go into solution and then gradually allowing the dissolved solid to crystallize. So, the principle daw sa recrystallization ay to purify different types of solid. Purify, the word purifying, which means the solid is known as impure. Yung solid daw ay may halong hindi siya pure, di ba? Yung solid na yon ay kumbaga nadumihan or may ibang nakahalo na chemical. So, the basic features of this technique are causing a solid to go into solution. Ang basic na features nito ay yung solid na ating ipipurify ay ilalagay natin sa isang solution. And then, gradually allowing the dissolved solid to crystallize. Then, upon that, the dissolved solid, kumbaga yung solid ay madidissolve. Then, it goes to crystallize naman. Magiging crystal siya. Then, it is actually very challenging process to get completely right. Dahil, ang process na ito ay masyadong challenging dahil 1 in 100%, siguro mga 50% ang kayang ma-process, kung mga 50% ay 50% ang nakakapasa. Dahil sa kung minsan nasusobrahan tayo ng solution na inilalagay at kung minsan naman na nasusobrahan yung boiling point, then it will make our recrystallization is not proper, completely right. Then the goal is to obtain a compound in high purity as uniform crystals. Ang goal natin dito ay makuha natin yung compound sa tamang purity at uniform ang crystals niya. Then, so, therefore, ang recrystallization ay isang purification technique. Kumbaga, nag-purify ng isang compound or isang chemical na which is example ay nadumihan. So basically, ang explanation natin niyan ay kung ang isang crystal, or for example is yung asin, yung ating asin, kapag siya ay marumi, nililinis natin, inaalis natin yung dumi na nakalagay sa kristal, which is mag-result ito ng kung ang kristal o kung ang asin ay madumi, mag-result ulit siya ng malinis na asin. So the actual form or actual na makikita natin sa impure na crystal ay from the galing sa maruming crystal, nagiging malinis na crystal siya. Makikita natin sa kanyang form dahil kita naman natin na marumi, which is parang black yung color niya, ganyan, near to black. Then kapag ito ay na-purified na siya, syempre makikita natin sa result na luminis, pumuti yung asin. Then next we have, it is a crystallization technique used to purify a chemical. So yung sinabi natin kanina, by dissolving both impurities and a compound in an appropriate solvent. Either the desired compound or impurities can be removed from the solution or leaving the other behind. When an organic compound has been made, it needs to be purified, particularly if it is a pharmaceutical chemical. This is because most organic reactions produce byproducts, but even if the reaction is a clean one, the purity standards for many products are so stringent that small amounts of other compounds have to be removed. So, ang meaning nito, hindi lang pala sa isang chemical na nadumihan ang ibig sabihin ng recrystallization. Ang recrystallization process ay nagagamit din sa pharmaceutical chemical, which is mayroong isang medicine na gusto mong i-separate yung ibang nakalagay sa kanya na chemical or nakalagay sa kanya na ibang compound. Which is, yun ang ibang sinasabi dito na sinasabi sa ating recrystallization process. No? This is because most of organic reactions produce by products. So, kung minsan yung ating mga products ay mayroong ibang reaction na naproproduce. Kaya, by the recrystallization process, ginagawa ito to remove the other compounds sa isang medicine. Okay, then in the laboratory, this is often done by recrystallization. So, yun yung sinabi natin na ang process na ito ay ang recrystallization. The general method is to find a solvent. So, ang general method nito ay maghanap tayo ng solvent that dissolves the product more. na makakadissolve sa ating product more readily at high temperature than at low temperature. So, general method is to find a solvent that dissolves the product more readily at high temperature than at low temperature. And make a hot solution and allow recrystalling on cooling. So, upon this, the general method daw is hanap tayo ng isang solvent na magdi-dissolve sa product natin ng in at high temperature than at low temperature. Yung sobrang high yung temperature niya and make a hot solution, magiging hot yung solution natin and allowing the crystalline in cooling. So let's shorten this discussion. Let's go to the theory. The theory of this crystallization is a laboratory techniques is for purifying solids only. Which means, kung ang iyong ipipurify ay solution or liquid, this is not belong to the process of recrystallization. Okay, again, the recrystallization is for the purifying solids only. Let's move on to the key points. Okay, the key points of these techniques is causing a solid to go into solution, and then gradually allowing the dissolved solution to crystallize. Hindi na natin pahabain pa yung ating discussion about this topic. Let's move on to the key points. Then, let's move on to the requirements of this experiment, which is we required an acetanilide equivalent of 5 gram. Second is the aspirin, which is equivalent of 20 ml. Then ethanol, 100 ml. Distilled water, equivalent of 100 ml. Okay, we have also the glassware apparatus. One is the volumetric flask, 200 ml, glass rod, beaker, measuring cylinder, pipette, burette, tripod stand, thermometer, oil bath, and water bath. So let's go to the standard procedure of this recrystallization. These are the important steps of the recrystallization process. First, dissolve the solute in the solvent. Add boiling solvent to a beaker containing the impure compound. Heat the beaker and keep adding solvent until the solute is completely dissolved. Second, cool the solution. The solution is cooled in open air first, and then cooled in an ice bath. Slow cooling often leads to purer crystals. Crystals should form on the bottom of the beaker. The process of seeding can be used to aid the formation of crystals This means adding a pure crystal of the compound. The pure crystal forms a surface for the solute to crystallize upon. Next is obtain the crystals of the solute. The purer crystals of the solute are the desirable part of the mixture, and so they must be removed from the solvent. The process used for isolating the crystals that remain in the beaker still is called vacuum filtration. Suction is created using an aspirator, and whatever remains in the beaker is poured through a Bankner funnel. If for some reason there are no crystals visible, a gravity filtration can be performed. Activated carbon is added to the solution. The mixture is boiled, and a funnel system is used to transfer the new mixture to a new beaker of boiling solvent. Filter paper is used in the funnel to remove excess carbon. After this mixture cools slowly, there should be large crystals present. Then last, dry the resulting crystals. The crystals are dried by leaving them in the aspirator and then removing them to a glass dish to wait a while longer. The purity of the crystals can be tested by performing a melting point determination. So these are the examples procedure for recrystallization of acetanilide and recrystallization of salicylic acid contaminated aspirin, or what we call also acetyl salicylic acid and or ASA. So let's take note that the recrystallization is used most important methods of purifying non-volatile solids. So let's take the meaning of the words non-volatile solids. A non-volatile is simply a substance that's not easily vaporized. Then, let's make the result of this recrystallization. This recrystallization of aspirin and acetanilide was done in a solvent ethanol. Then, kagaya ng sabi ko, na ang result ng ating crystal ay clear. Clear, which means makikita natin na malinis yung ating product. And makikita na pure na white siya. Okay? Kung ang ating example doon ay yung asin. So, let's end this discussion and thank you for listening. See you again on our next discussion. Okay? God bless.